Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Aries. If Aries is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. And so we have the 10 of Wands, which in the Thoth deck, it relates to opposition. Okay, let's go ahead and see what these tea leaves have to say tonight. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit the little bell. It will let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. So it looks like we have 34. Actually, it looks like 8, 3, 4. So we have 8, 3, 4, 834. Okay, and let's see. All right, I want to start over here. So the first thing I noticed is this figure. It reminds me of some kind of fairy tale, like a wicked stepmother in a Disney movie, right? We have the head right here. You can see the eye and this kind of big collar, which you would expect from like, you know, some kind of Tudor era dress. And kind of big puffy sleeves and a long kind of dress and then down here we have, it looks like a child or at least somebody who is younger. Here we have the crone, okay, so grandmother archetype. And here we have a fertility goddess and you can see the mammaries right there. And then we have, what does that say? It looks like 2, 1, 1. And then we have, it looks like REIZ or RCIZ. Oh, and then we have 219. So we have 211, 219, 843. And it looks like it almost kind of looks like it says res. REZ maybe, I don't know. So these letters, right? And then, so we have this whole thing, right? This whole dynamic. And to me, as I'm looking at it, I'm thinking that there seems to be, I feel like probably when you were young, maybe you had a step parent. Maybe this is an auntie or, you know, some adult woman in your life, feminine person in your life, and they just were not kind to you. I mean, this is just like somebody who, I don't know what their deal was. I don't know what their problem was, but they just absolutely behaved in this kind of, you know, classical villain archetype. And I see we have this kind of running, this child, it looks like they're running. Now I feel like there was kind of shelter from this energy in grandma, great grandma, you know, something like this. Now I'm not sure where mother is. I almost wonder if there was maybe the divorce, maybe you just didn't see her, or maybe it is that she transitioned, okay? Now, I feel like you grew up around a lot of women, maybe a family that was very, you know, a lot of women, not as many boys in the family. And And so, you know, I don't feel like this archetype, this evil stepmother kind of vibe, I don't think this ruined your, I guess, experience with mothers or women in these kind of caretaker roles, because you had other women looking out for you. But this was a traumatic dynamic, definitely. I don't, you know, I can't see what happened, but I do feel like in your mind, even as you remember her now, all these years later, she feels like a giant, right? Like this kind of almost mythical sized personality. You know, worried that anything you did, she would see, she would find out. She always had her eyes on you. You know, she was always trying to make trouble for you. She was always trying to push you out of the home. You know, kind of block your relationship maybe with your father or your other siblings or so on. And, you know, I don't know that you could ever figure out why. It's as a child. It just, you didn't know what you had done. You know, it just, it didn't make sense. But, you know, as you get older, I mean, there's no reason to be in competition or to be kind of fighting for the attention of the father with somebody's, you know, with his child. I cannot imagine. But, you know, these things happen. They absolutely do. And it doesn't have to be so dramatic that, you know, she was violent or overtly abusive or anything like this. It could be that she withheld her emotion, she avoided you, was very cold and manipulative to the father and so on. But I do feel like you really found refuge in those relationships with grandmother, great-grandmother, aunt, sister, whoever it was. And you know, I think that they shielded you from this person. Now, I don't know whatever happened. They maybe are still around. Who knows? But I feel like when you look back on your youth, it is kind of everything before this person came. And then when they showed up, it all changed. And so I do feel like there's a sense of, you know, as an adult, really, really trying to never treat anybody like this, especially children. I feel like you are somebody who really goes out of your way to include all of the kids in the family, if they are blood related or married in or acquired in some way, you know, some kind of chosen family. You know, I feel that you are probably kind of the parent, you know, all of your kids, their friends and so on. You're the parent that they feel comfortable with, right? They can talk to you. They know that if they need somewhere to stay, you will take them in, this kind of thing. And so, you know, I feel that it has been such a priority in your life to change the narrative, right? Change this cycle of, I guess, how should I say this? It kind of is this dysfunctional home. And I don't think it's anything about like your parents maybe being divorced or, you know, if there was death or maybe mother left or, you know, whatever it is. That's not the dysfunction I'm talking about. The dysfunction in somebody being allowed in the life of this family and to treat people so poorly without having any kind of responsibility for how they affect others. And it's amazing to me because I, like most people, grew up with, you know, more than one person like this in my family, and as I got older and I left my family and I made my own, you know, kind of friends group and began having my own chosen family members and so on. Well, even still, you know, these kinds of things would happen. And you know, it's hard to understand why this is so prevalent, right? I know we are all kind of unfinished and flawed beings, but to have somebody within the dynamic of this you know, family, tribe, this group of people, who's absolutely just so corrosive, right? Destructive and hurtful. It's hard to imagine how we let that happen, you know, but it does. And all we can do is our best. And especially when we get to that place where we realize this is like not just the mood, this is not just like they're going through something difficult, you know, they're trying to work on themselves or whatever. No, this is somebody who is just a cruel person. This is somebody who has maybe a personality disorder or, you know, they're predatory, abusive, and so on. And I feel like for you, it's like you won't put up with that. You are not going to have that energy in your life, and you absolutely would not let your kids grow up around that. And that is some of the most important work that we could do in our lifetime, is breaking these cycles and creating an environment and a life for our children, the younger people that are around us, dissolving these kinds of dynamics as being the norm and making them not. You know, we don't put up with that kind of behavior. You know, I don't know. You know, I think about it and I think, like, if somebody treated my daughter like that, I would lose my mind. I would just, you know, and but it, you know, it happens in it. It's you go one or two ways, or if you, I mean, it's not one or two, that's very like general, but hopefully you go in the way that you want to correct this. You want to change this. You don't want this to keep showing up. Okay, so I turn this and look at this. We have a real cool looking person here. They have sunglasses on. We have the nose, the mouth, and a beard. Kind of maybe almost like a shorter haircut. Kind of reminds me of the sun, right? The sun with the glasses and the beard or the rays coming out. But I like this image so much. It's a departure from that other energy. And it feels like somebody, maybe a peer, a good friend, maybe somebody romantic, a beloved person. But I feel like this is somebody who is pretty easygoing, right? This is somebody who, when you are struggling, when you are like going through it, this is a person that kind of like comes through your life and just, you have fun with them, you laugh, and they kind of remind you that it doesn't all have to be so serious, that it's okay to let go a little bit. It's okay to allow yourself some space to just enjoy something a little bit, right? And yeah, so I feel like this is a shift in that energy. And it feels like you know, I feel like it's like you're going through something, some kind of situation where you are really thinking about this like past stuff a lot. But it's like almost like the sun, the clouds are parting, the sun is coming out, and it's like, hey dude, why are you dwelling on this? You know, let's like go for a walk. Let's go do something. Let's go, you know, let's go play laser tag, or I don't know, something, right? And I feel like, you know, yeah, you kind of like shaking yourself out of it. Because it does, I don't know what it is. There's some kind of lull in energy, maybe. I almost feel like it's you're overly tired, you know? And I know that's like that's for me, so many things. I'm just so tired. And it's true. It is true. I get so, I'm not one of these people that like can be Mr. Nice Guy when I'm exhausted. You know, if I just keep going for days and days, and I've been so busy and, you know, not sleeping enough, I'm a crabby person. Like, you might not always see it in me in the readings, but my goodness, I can. I get very moody. But so I wonder if, you know, it's something like this, where it's just like you are, you know, you're working a lot of hours, you're doing a lot of stuff, you have a lot of things happening, you know, in the northern hemisphere, we're getting into these warm months, you know, there's kind of the pressure to do all kinds of stuff before it gets too hot. And in the southern hemisphere, getting cooler, right? Trying to get it in before you're in that deep winter mode. And so, you know, I think it's just kind of this feeling of kind of chill. Let's slow it down. You know, find something to be happy about, something that is interesting. Even if it's, you know, taking a towel and a like a umbrella to the beach and going out there and, you know, falling asleep for a couple hours, right? And just enjoying wear sunblock though, please. Please. But, you know, doing something. And I feel like this is that vibe. It just shows up in your life. And this might be a real person. It might just be the energy, you know, like that little voice. Hey, okay, let's pump the brakes a little bit here. Let's settle down. Let's kind of, you know, go slowly. Take it easy. Now this one, it looks like, to me, it looks like a beetle. Oh gosh, this story, you know, if you know my channel, how much I love animals, I love plants, I love bugs, you know, I'm just obsessed. I should start posting the pictures that I take, because I take so many pictures of animals every day. I'm that person that's out taking like pictures of all the flowers and leaves and, you know, whatever. Yeah. And, but okay, so years ago, I was gifted a lizard, and let me just tell you, the lizard ended up going to somebody else who could take care of it, because I was in college, I think, or maybe even a senior in high school. I was not responsible. I didn't get responsible until I was like 34 years old, right? I was a late bloomer. But so anyways, I had this lizard, and it had a little heat rock, and I had to give it grubs, and it wasn't happy. It wasn't eating, and I only had it for, I don't know how long, but you know, it was fine. And but this one, I went in there one day, and that one of the little grub things had gotten under the heat rock, right? Like wedged between this heat area, and there's like a little thing of water, and I lifted up the rock. I think it was cleaning, I don't know, but I lifted it up and there was this, maggot or whatever, grub or whatever, and it was splitting open and there were legs coming out. It was changing. And the light on the heat, there's a lamp, right? Like kind of like a grow lamp or whatever. And I feel like it was purple. So my room had this like ultraviolet light, and there was this thing, and it was like a horror movie. Okay. In my mind, it seems like I'm itching my skin. It wasn't an itchy situation, but it was like, I was so startled and horrified. And so anyways, let me just say, it looks like we do have, it looks this very similar, this kind of grub, but also then the head of the beetle kind of forming and the legs coming together. And I feel like it's a good reminder. It's a beautiful reminder, really, that metamorphosis is not always, it's not beautiful. It's not a gorgeous kind of thing to glance upon, right? To watch. Even if you think about a caterpillar going into, and I always forget, is it chrysalis or going, it's going into its, what's it called? The, cocoon. Is chrysalis? I don't know. Anyways, it goes in there. It turns to basically mush, liquidy mush, and then it reforms into the butterfly. I don't know how. I didn't do well in science, but I've been to the science museum with my daughter, so I know this happens. And so, anyways, it's just sometimes as we change, as we go through these different revolutions in our life, it doesn't always look beautiful. Sometimes it looks like a nervous breakdown. Sometimes it looks like absolutely kind of, the importance of things in our life falling away and feeling lost and kind of disenfranchised and, not knowing which way to turn but at the same time, right, finding your resolve, getting through the dang thing. If not intuitively, sometimes, we just kind of go autopilot and apply into our intuitive nature where we can. But also having help through self-development or therapy or, whatever it is. And, but it does not always look beautiful. It doesn't look, glorious and bliss and joy and frolicking through the meadows and all that. No, sometimes it's very messy and gory and painful. I think about, I started doing primal screaming stuff before I even knew it was really a thing. I just would go outside and scream because it felt so cathartic to like scream from, the root chakra all the way up, right? Release it all. And then I started seeing stuff about people doing this as a therapy, as a way to release these energies. And I've seen people doing trauma work, laying and screaming and being facilitated by somebody else, helping them, get out the kind of knots in their body, emotional and spiritual blockages. And it does not look, I find it beautiful because I can understand that it is this, it's like a scream beyond time and space. It is that kind of shaking of the earth, splitting of the sky. It is you know, just something from the very source of your being, right? And it flows through you and out of you, and it is powerful. But it doesn't, you know, what we would usually consider to be beautiful or tasteful or, you know, whatever. It's not that usually. So I look at this and I think, you know, there are times when I think you feel like I should be able to do this in a way that's not so messy. It feels like my emotions are big and my reactions are big, and I go from being absolutely livid to crying to you know, kind of isolating myself, and then I suddenly want to be with somebody and very close to them, and then when that happens and I am repulsed by it, and I'm in a, you know, and I'm not saying that's your pattern, but it's like these kind of you know, quickly shifting things, emotions, reactions, coping mechanisms, and that can feel like, when we're in that, it can feel like I'm making no progress. I'm just a mess, right? Well, I argue that this is you allowing yourself to feel all the things that you're feeling. And it's okay if it's not one thing for a prolonged amount of time. It's okay if you shift through moods and emotions quickly. Now, let me just also say, I'm not a therapist. I'm not certified or licensed or for anything at all, right? I'm just some person that reads tea leaves. But you know, if it does get to a point where like it's unmanageable, it feels, you know, like you're lost in it completely, then absolutely make sure you're talking to your therapist, your counselor. If you already are diagnosed with something, or, you know, take medication or whatever, just stay to your routines. Make sure that you are adhering to your treatment plan and everything like that, okay? And I say this as a person who I have a variety of diagnoses. My main one is CPTSD. And everything kind of stems from there. That coupled with ADHD. So it's kind of a fun mix. A lot of anxiety and a lot of tears over here. But you know, and it's just, you have to remind yourself this is part of the process, right? And it's okay if it doesn't make sense to other people. It's okay if sometimes it seems like it doesn't make sense to you. You know, you have to kind of get through these parts that are so intense and come into a place of ease, right? Where you can kind of, you can look back on it and see this maybe was valuable for me. It didn't feel good necessarily, but it was a valuable learning experience and processing and integrating and everything else. So, you know, I think that when I see this symbol, it's not that you are going through a period of this, but there's at least the introspection of, maybe I've been through some moments like this. There have been some periods of my life that have been chaotic, you know, whatever. And being able to look at that and seeing the value in it, okay? That is very, I feel, healing, you know. I absolutely do. Now, let's take a look. We have this little mound here with a tree right there. We also have, it looks like a dolphin, so big psychic energies. And we have an E and a Z. I was thinking easy. But the tree to me is so important because it feels like If you can imagine a beautiful little tree kind of growing on like a cliff next to the ocean, I always think of like maybe like somewhere, you know, along the Mediterranean coastline. Maybe it's, you know, maybe like Greece or something, but these beautiful little trees, and they just they're so sturdy in there. They have found a way to root right into the edge of, you know, next to the ocean. And I feel like it's like against all odds, you have found a way, and you continue to. And not only that, I mean, you have found a way to kind of set down roots, but you also have found a way to thrive, whatever that looks like for you. And I do feel like this period of time is also one that is quite psychic. Okay, so and that makes sense from everything we've been talking about. But I do feel like you're just, I don't know, maybe I almost feel like you are having kind of premonitions. Okay, and I don't know if you necessarily experience them and then think of them that way. It might kind of be like, well, I feel like I can just work things out. I've seen a lot of things. I've been through a lot of things. So I can look at a situation and kind of make a pretty educated guess about, you know, what might go down. But I do feel like there's a psychic aspect here. And it seems more profound than maybe you give yourself credit for. So, you know, look for those signs, symbols, and synchronicities, because they are going to be there for you, most definitely. All right, we have the Wild Bohemian Affirmation cards, and these are the fire element. Oh, where are we going over here? Okay, so I'm just going to flip through, and I'm going to stop where it feels right. Okay, and it says, I am soulful. You have the heart strength to give love freely. You are wise to be lighthearted. You are wise to be lighthearted. All right. Look at you, Aries. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you I love you, because I do. And I thank you so much for spending this time with me. It's always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. And if you would be so kind as to like the video, it really does help the channel so much. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It's free to subscribe. And if you'd like to leave a comment, please do. I read them all. They mean the world to me. Okay, Aries, I love you. We'll talk in a few days. Take care of yourself. Good night, good night, good night.